So, I don't know if you guys have heard, but Taylor Swift dropped a brand new album last week, 2 weeks ago. Hi everyone, it's Steph at Steph Read Run, and I was tagged in my first official book tag on my channel by Rye over at Rye's Reading Quarter, and I am going to do the Folklore Book Tag. I've been a huge Taylor Swift fan like my whole life. Growing up, she was great. She and I are around the same age. She puts out amazing music. Like, her message right now is just great. She's encouraging people to vote. It's awesome. This new album was just what we all needed, I think, this year. And I think it's fantastic. It's folky, obviously, and it's great. And I just really want to get started on this book tag. There's a question for every song on the album. And I'll be sure to show you the song titles here with the prompt. And I will also put it all down below. I will link The Enchanted Reader, who I believe was the original tag. I think there's a couple tags floating around on YouTube right now, but the one I'm doing is going to be the one that was designed by The Enchanted Reader, which is the same one that Rye used in her video. I will also link her video down below. So many links. Let's get started. The first song on the album is called The One, and the prompt that goes with this song is a couple that you don't agree with. And for this one, I'm going with Edward and Bella from Twilight. For me, Bella and Edward's relationship was really problematic. I didn't like how possessive he was of her, and I didn't like how she would just like jump all in with him before even really knowing him. And I know there's more to it than that, but it just wasn't for me. The relationship was just not fun for me to experience. So sorry guys, Edward and Bella. The second song on the album is called Cardigan, and the prompt for this one is a book that you loved, but you were disappointed by the ending. And for this one, I am going to go with The Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. And this was my first experience with YA horror, and this was actually for a book club. So this book takes place in a small town that has like magical woods, and years ago, a girl disappears and is never to be seen again. And then it kind of flips to present day, and our main character, her sister, disappears. So her and her group of friends decide to go into these magic woods to try and find her sister. And it was really fun. It was really creepy. It was kind of like a game, but almost where there's like gates that they have to get through. There were some really gruesome moments, and it kept me on my toes, but the ending was a little confusing, and it just kind of ended, and I was just like, wait, what? And I definitely would recommend it if anyone wants to try like a weird psychological thriller with some really supernatural elements. But the ending just it just didn't work. It was confusing, and it was like, wait, what just happened kind of moment. So yeah. Song number 3 is called The Last Great American Dynasty, and the prompt for this one is a villain that you can't help but love. And for this one, I'm going to go with The Darkling from the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. And The Darkling, I read this, I think last summer. I read this whole trilogy, and it was okay. The first book is by far the best one. And I loved The Darkling because he was so fun to read. And I think a good villain is best when you don't really know how you feel about them. And it's like, you obviously know that he's a terrible person, being, but the vibe that he has with Alina, oh my God, it was awesome. He was so fun. And anytime I knew that like he was in the room, I was like, yes, more Darkling, please, more Darkling. And that's why you know that's a good villain. I highly recommend this series. I know Netflix is coming out with the trailer, I think like next week for the series. Six of Crows is better, but this is still the Grishaverse. It's still really creative, and Leigh Bardugo's brain is like amazing. So check it out. The fourth song on the album is called Exile, featuring Bon Iver, and it is awesome. And the prompt for this one is what is your favorite dark, hard-hitting contemporary? And I am going to go with Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a book about a girl named Mara and Owen, who are twins and are very, very close brother and sister. And their whole world is completely shattered when Mara's best friend accuses her brother of rape. It just completely uproots Mara's entire life and her thought process, and how she deals with like how she knows that her brother would never be capable of raping someone, but she also believes that her best friend would never lie about being raped. And it is incredibly well written. I love to read more Ashley Herring Blake books, and it just deals with a lot of extremely emotional and hard topics and family dynamics, and obviously rape, sexual assault, you know, identity. And Mara, also on top of all of this, falls in love with her best friend, and her best friend, their relationship has kind of been severed, and she tries to repair that relationship during all of this whole book, and it's just incredibly hard-hitting. And at the end of the book, I was just like, whoa, this is incredible, but wow, very hard-hitting. And it was really good. I highly recommend it. Song number 5 is called My Tears Ricochet, and this prompt is a book that had a death that destroyed you. And for this one, it took me a second to kind of realize what I wanted to do with it. And I'm gonna go with The Dad from Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. This is about Taylor and her family who go to their summer lake house for the summer. But at the beginning, you find out that the father of the family has been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he has about 4 months to live. So they know that this is going to be their last summer together there as a family. This death kind of destroyed me because it was so, you know, central throughout the whole book. And Taylor goes back to this town where she had some friendships there that kind of fell apart. And she comes back and tries to reconnect with some of those people while also trying to grapple with the fact that her father may not be alive at the end of the summer. So I'm going to go with that because it was a beautiful book, and it was really sad. And that whole thing just kind of destroyed me because I cannot imagine putting myself in that position. But it was really good, and it was, you know, it was really sad, but check it out. Song number 6 is called Mirrorball, and the prompt for this one is a character that goes under major development, character development. And I'm going to go with Elisa from The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. I've only read the first book in this trilogy, and it was excellent. I think Elisa grows even more throughout the series, but you can just tell after reading this book, it already has started. Like at the beginning of this, she's just this little girl. She's extremely conscious of her body and her weight, and she is put into an arranged marriage. And I think she learns so much just from that experience. She learns to grow and how to become a queen. She's given a godstone that has all these powers, but she doesn't really realize what it's capable of. And she's put into situations where she's kind of forced to fend for herself. And she definitely does that. Can't wait to read the rest of this trilogy. Okay, so song number 7 is obviously called the song 7, which I love. And this is what is your favorite childhood book? And this is kind of a weird answer, but I'm gonna go with the I Wonder Why Encyclopedia, the Kingfisher I Wonder Why Encyclopedia. And you may be asking, why would you pick an encyclopedia as your favorite children's book? But I have to tell you, and this is not the original copy that I had growing up, it's just an encyclopedia that asks like random questions with really fun illustrations. And it was just a really fun book on how to learn about just like random stuff, like how potato chips were invented, and how is a mountain bike built, and where is the country of Bolivia, and what is their culture like? You know, just like little tiny tidbits of like science and history and inventions and music and art. And it was, anytime I would just flip through this book my entire childhood, and I absolutely loved it. This is not the original copy that I had. The one I had just fell apart because I read it so much. And I finally found a copy. I think it was on Amazon on a used section of their site, and I got it, and I would like cried when it came in the mail. It was just, I just love this book so much. Song number 8 is called August, and this prompt is your favorite summer reads. And I'm gonna go with the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. I know this is probably a really obvious choice, but I really love these books. Again, mostly for nostalgia reasons. And I reread them last summer, and they do kind of hold up. I really like them, and I kind of forgot how much they differed from the movies. And there's a 5th book that she wrote a lot later than when she wrote the first 4. Oh, sorry. This is also by Anne Brashairs. I forgot to say the author's name. That's so weird of me. But these are just fun summary books about 4 girls that share a pair of pants amongst themselves and during the summers off from high school and college, so they can stay connected. Obviously this is before like Facebook and Instagram, where they actually had to like write letters to each other to stay in touch. And if you guys haven't read these books, they're a lot of fun. They're really quick reads. It changes perspectives between the 4 girls and all their different experiences. And I just think it's really fun. Song number 9 is called This Is Me Trying, and the prompt for this one is a book that pulls you out of a slump. And I'm going to go with The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. And this took BookTube by storm. I think it was last year or the year prior, maybe. This is a debut adult contemporary romance by Sally Thorne. And it's obviously a hate to love romance. And this is about Josh and Lucy, who are co-workers at a publishing company. And they hate each other so much. And it's so apparent that she absolutely hates Josh. He's a jerk. She's trying to get ahead at her job, try and impress her boss. And he just gets in the way of everything. And it's just a really fun, bantery, steamy romance. And if I'm ever just in a slump and nothing is getting me up off the ground, this book will pull me up, and it is awesome. I love it. I can't wait to see what else Sally Thorne puts out. It's just so much fun. Song number 10 is called Illicit Affairs, and the prompt for this one is, what is your guilty pleasure read? And for this one, I am gonna go with the Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi. And these books were incredible when I first read them. I couldn't believe how quickly I burned through these novels. And this is, if you guys don't know, this series has been on BookTube for a really long time. And honestly, disclaimer, I've only read these 3 books. I know the series has continued on since then. I do want to read them. I just haven't had, haven't gotten around to it. All I can say about this series is that it's a dystopian series about Juliet, who has these magical powers where if she touches someone, they die. And then she meets Warner, who is like, they're just reading anything, any scenes between the two of them. Whew, boy, it is just incredible. And like I said, Tahira Mafi is a queen when it comes to steam and angst. Oh, this book is full of so much angst. All 3 of them, oh my God. So if you ever want a quick read, just pick one of these up. You'll fly through it. Song number 11 is Invisible String, and the prompt for this one is, who is your book boyfriend? And I have to go with Wade Watts from Ready Player One. And this book was one of my favorite books I've ever read. I actually listened to the audiobook. If you have a chance, do that, because Will Wheaton actually narrates the audiobook, and he just does such a great job. And Wade Watts, this takes place in also a kind of a dystopian post-apocalyptic world where the world is kind of falling apart, but everyone is going into the Oasis, which is a virtual reality game. And it's like you can fully immerse yourself into this world and like make money, be who you want, look like who you want. And the creator of this game had passed, and he put secret keys in the world, and anyone who found all 3 keys and was able to solve his puzzles would inherit like his entire fortune, which was like billions and billions and billions of dollars. So we meet Wade Watts, who is from like a trailer park, super poor, lives with like his abusive aunt and uncle, and he enters the Oasis in this competition. And my goodness, adventure ensues. And it's so fun. His character is so vulnerable and sweet, but also smart and adventuresome and passionate. And he's just really fun. And please, guys, pick it up if you want. It's a lot of fun if you want a good, fun adventure sci-fi book. And I heard that Ernest Cline actually announced a second one called Ready Player 2, and I am so excited. Song number 12 is called Mad Woman, and the prompt for this one is your favorite female protagonist. And for this one, I am going to go with Maggie Hosky from Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. And this is part of the 6th World series. I believe there are 3 books out now. I've read the first 2. And this takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. I clearly love dystopian post-apocalyptic books, I guess. And Maggie is a monster hunter. And the world before this had completely flooded. And now natural resources are really hard to get. And it awakened these like monsters in the world. And she hunts them. And a lot of the inspiration for this book, I think, actually came from Navajo folklore. And it was really cool. Like, Maggie's like a badass, like she carries all these guns and these knives and has this power to bring down the lightning, and it is a lot of fun. The books are not very long, and she meets Kai, and the 2 of them actually go to this village where there have been a lot of disappearances, and she awakens this massive power inside of her, and it is just badass, and I loved it. If you guys are looking for a really fun Native American inspired fantasy series, I highly recommend it. I can't wait to get into book 3. Question number 13 is Epiphany, and this is the prompt for this one is a character that has overcome a lot. And I'm gonna go with Laya from An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Laya is one of the, I don't know, 3 or 4 main characters and perspectives that we get in the Ember in the Ashes series. Book 4 is coming out in December, I cannot wait. And Laya is a slave girl from Sarah in this Roman Empire-esque world where this empire rules and it's a very oppressive society. She has to infiltrate the commandant's quarters because her brother has been taken hostage into a prison. And she goes and tries to find out as much as she can about where her brother is and how she can possibly save her brother. And the amount of grief and hardship that she goes through, but she is so determined to find her brother. It's just incredible, very strong and very inspirational. And I just am so excited to see how the series ends. If you guys haven't checked out An Ember in the Ashes, please do. The books are, all 3 books are just fantastic. Song number 14 on the album is Betty. And the prompt for this one is a character that deserved better. And I think I'm gonna go with Lenny from The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This book takes place in like 1970s America, where a family post-war has inherited land up in Alaska. And Lenny and her parents decide to relocate to a very remote city or town in Alaska, basically where they have to like hunt and gather to survive, to thrive off they have to live off the land. And her father, who has some post-traumatic stress disorder from being in the war, and I think he has a drinking problem, completely uproots his entire family and takes them to Alaska. As a whole, this book was really good. Lenny and her mother have to learn how to kind of fend for themselves. There's some other really great, strong female characters that come in to help them and adapt to this very intense environment that they're now living in because of the father. And I felt for her because she was a child when this all happened. She really had no choice, and she was just kind of thrown into this survival situation. And it was really good. It was an adult contemporary that I read probably a couple of years ago. It was my first Kristen Hanna book, and I know I definitely want to read more of her stuff, but I felt so bad for Lenny because it's just like, man, I can't imagine just being like thrust into that something like that. But she overcame, and it was really, really good. Song number 15 is called Peace, and the prompt for this one is your favorite fictional couple. And I have to go with Linus and Arthur from The House in the Cerulean Sea. I just finished this book for the 3 Blondes in a Book book club with Kaylin, Zoe, and Liv. It's a great little book club that they've got going. And Arthur and Linus were just amazing. It was so amazing to read about an adult relationship, an older adult relationship that grows slowly and sweetly, and just it's not based on physical attraction. It was based on just like good dialogue and conversation between the two, and you can see the growth. And when it all comes together at the end, it just was so satisfying. I think the moment that it happened for the two of them, I cried, and it was so good. And I don't typically cry with books, but it just hit me so hard. I cannot recommend. This is a 5-star book, my most recent read. Cannot recommend this enough. Please, please read this if you want something whimsical and wonderful about love and acceptance, and it is amazing. Song number 16 is called Hoax, and the prompt is a fictional breakup that destroyed you. And I wouldn't really necessarily say that this breakup destroyed me, but it did make me a little sad, and that was Peter and Lara Jean in P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. And like I said, it didn't really destroy me, but it did make me a little sad. I thought they were such a cute couple. But, you know, breakups happen for a reason. And, you know, in high school, we all have breakups that are like devastating at the end. You know, it's the end of the world. But in hindsight, you do learn that you learn things from breakups. And they definitely learned some stuff about why they were together. What were they doing? Do they actually want to be together? Lara Jean needed to go and figure out her stuff. And then who knows after that? But it made me a little sad. So yeah. Okay guys, I guess that's it for the Folklore Book Tag. And this was really fun. It was my first book tag on this channel. And thank you, Rye from Rye's Reading Corner, for tagging me. And I will be sure to tag some others in the links down below. I'll tweet at you guys and let you know to do this video. Love Taylor Swift, listen to folklore, and I will see y'all later.